first thing is that what is rotational mechanics, what is rotational motion, and what is rigid body. The two things we have to understand is rotational motion and rigid body. So understand, motion is of two types. Motion is of two types. One is translational, and one is rotational. In translational motion, you are going to get that every particle is moving with same velocity, same acceleration, and same speed. So every particle have same velocity vector, acceleration vector, and displacement vector. But in this case, every particle moves on circular path. They move on circular path with centers with different velocity, acceleration, and displacement. Let us see how. In this case, trajectory of all particles is identical. Trajectory of all particles is identical. In this case, trajectory of all particles is circular. Every particle moves on the circular path with centers lying on a straight line, that is called axis of rotation. Trajectory of all particles lie on circular. Trajectory of all particles is circular with all their centers lying on a line. This line is called axis of rotation. Okay. So in this case, in translational case, if I say velocity of the particle is this, that means any particle velocity is same as the entire particle velocity. Any particle velocity is same as entire particle velocity. See, this is the rod, and if this rod is moving like this, that means if this rod is here, and then this rod is here, and then this rod is here, I would say it is a translational motion. Why I would say it is a translational motion? Because why I would say this is a translational motion? Because I know that every particle is moving on a. So say this is a point A. Now this point reaches here A. Again this point reaches here A. This is the trajectory of particle A. This is the trajectory of particle B. This is the trajectory of particle B. This is the trajectory of particle B. This is the trajectory of particle C. So you can see every trajectory is identical. If I am saying at this point the velocity of this B is vector V, that means velocity of all the particles is vector V. One of the important characteristic of this motion is that if you draw any imaginary line, within this rod, this line is not going to change angle with any fixed axis in the universe. If you want, just a minute. This angle theta would not change. Any imaginary line drawn within the body would not change angle with any of the axis. This is called translational motion. So if I am moving something like this, see, this is a remote, and I am moving this remote like this. So if I draw an imaginary line here, if I draw an imaginary line here like this, suppose this line makes some angle theta with any axis, and if this angle remains fixed as this moves, if this angle remains fixed as this moves, this is said to be translational motion. In this case, if I say the velocity of this particle is v, vector v, velocity of the every particle is vector v, in this case, to solve the question, I do not require rotational mechanics. I can replace this entire body by point mass. I can replace this entire body by point mass, whose property is vector v, whose property is acceleration a, whose property is displacement s. I need not require any angular quantity. Once this angle changes, even slightly, with respect to any axis, if with respect to any axis orientation changes, it becomes rotational motion. That means, understand one more thing, that if this is the motion, this is the motion, this motion is not rotational motion. This motion is not rotational motion. This motion is translational motion. This translational motion is of two types. First is rectilinear translation. This motion is called rectilinear translation. And second is called curvilinear translation. If this is moving like this, but this is not changing, this is not rotating, angle is not changed, keeping this fixed, it is moving on the circular path, that kind of motion would be called, translational motion. Again, you can replace this entire body by point mass at its center of mass and solve the question. So understand, if even this is the case, if case is like this is the body, then it goes like this, and then it goes like this. This particle moves like this, this particle moves like this, and this particle moves like this. Again, although the trajectories are not a straight line, but the velocities are common at any instant of time. If this point have vector v velocity, this also a vector v velocity, and this also a vector v velocity. Again, for this you do not require the concepts of rotational mechanics. Understand, if one particle is in motion, no particle is at rest. Every particle is in motion with the same velocity, same. So here we require only the velocity of one particle. We don't tell about what is the velocity of point A, what is the velocity of point B, and what is the velocity of point C. We call them out. So this is translational motion. This is rectilinear and this is curvilinear. This is curvilinear motion. Now come to rotational motion. See, this is the globe. And if I spin it, you can see every particle is moving on the circular path. This particle on the equator is moving on a circular path. This particle here on Tropic of Cancer or Capricorn, that is moving on the circular path. This particle moving, every particle is moving on the circular path. And if this is an entire volume, then even inside particles are moving on the circular path. But what is common between all? They all take equal time to cover the entire revolution. They take equal time to complete this 360 degree. Their angular quantities are same. Their angular acceleration is same, angular displacement is same, angular velocity is same. But their linear velocity are not same. So this is going on a circle of radius r. This may be going on the circle of radius r by 2. But for all circle, the centers are lying on an axis passing through this north-south line. This axis on which the center of all particles circle lie, the center of all circular motion lie on a straight line, and that straight line is called, I would share the video on YouTube, that is on Apple tab, so that has a better quality. Okay, so don't worry about that. So here That is called axis of rotation. Like in the case of fan, when fan is rotating, you can see that when fan is rotating, you know the speed at the tip of the blade is very large, and the speed near the center is very small, but angular quantity is same, angular velocity is same. Okay, so omega into r, you see that, and the axis of that lies along the rod, the spindle on which the fan is hanged. The circular motion, all the particles of the fan have circular motion of different radii, different speed, but same omega. But their common centers, one particle rotating here, one particle rotating here. But the common centers, if you find the locus of the common center, that is called axis of rotation. That you know these things because you are a dropper batch. So now come to rigid body. What is the meaning of rigid body? Because this chapter is sometimes called rigid body dynamics. Rigid body means a body in which the relative separation, the relative position between 2 points remain fixed. That means if they rotate, everything should rotate with common omega, common angular quantity. They are not something like this that they can deform or they can break. The combined body, the complete body, the distance between 2 points, relative points remain fixed. They neither deform nor there is any relative slipping. For example, you can see, this is a rigid body. This is a rigid body. Why? Because if I draw any line, two lines, if one line rotates by theta, other must rotate by theta. But this is not a rigid body. I can rotate this. This is rotating, this is not rotating. This is rotating faster, this is rotating slower. You can see. So now this and this combined system is not called rigid body. Because with respect to this can slip. With respect to this can slip. This is not compulsion that they should move with common omega. So this entire body cannot be called rigid body. So if you want to apply any rotational quantity, you should apply either on this or this. You cannot apply on both if they have different omega. You can see, if I take this, if I take like this, I hold it and I move it. I move my hand. My hand is in rotation, but you can see my hand is rotating, but this is not. Because my hand is fixed with some kind of motor and my hand is rotating, but this would remain as it is. Entire of my hand would rotate, but this would not. So this is not rigid body. This has to be replaced by a point mass. This is not, this whole combination, this rod, my hand is like a rod. My hand is like a rod. So I have to take moment of inertia of the rod about this. But this is not a disc. This is a point mass. Because at any point of time, if this point, the spindle, the axle have the speed v, then every point have the speed v. So this behaves like a point mass attached here. You would see that. So understand that what happens in the case of rotational motion. What happens in the case of rotational motion, that is our topic. I know that many things are known to you, but this is the way we should start. So see, understand that if this is a body, any kind of body like this is a sphere, but it can have any general shape. If this is the body and that is in rotation, you can see that every point, if suppose this is rotating with angular speed omega, and this is a rigid body, this is like some crusher stone kind of thing, and this is a rigid body. Take a point here. You can see that this point moves on a circular path like this. You can see that this point moves on a circle like this. This point have radius r. Its speed would be omega into r. Its speed would be omega into r. Similarly, this point is rotating on another circular motion. This is r dash, this is r1, then this is r2, this is r2, then this speed is omega into r2. In the same plane, if you take third particle, you would get the velocity is this omega into r3. So different particles have different linear speed. They are going on different circles. But the center of this circle is here, center of this circle is here, center of this circle is here, center of this circle is here. If you see the locus of all the centers, that is called axis of rotation. That is called axis of rotation. So in this case, there is some points which are at rest. There are points lying on the axis which are not at all moving. There are some points lying on this axis which are at rest. Like in this case, the north-south line of Earth, the north-south line of Earth is not moving. Equator is moving. The point on the equator has fastest speed and the point on the pole is at rest. The point on the pole is at rest. That means different points have different linear quantities, but they have same angular quantities. So in this case, the quantity we are going to define is, that is, they have same angular quantities but different linear quantities. Let us find what is the kinetic energy of this. Let us find what is the kinetic energy of this system. So let us find what is the kinetic energy of this system. I want to know what is the kinetic energy of this spinning earth. I want to know what is the kinetic energy of this spinning earth. Now I cannot directly write half mv square, because for different masses the speed is different. For different masses the speed is different. So what is my process? My process would be like this. What I would do is that if I have a system of particles, and that is spinning like this is the axis of rotation and this is angular speed omega. Since we have taken rigid body, I am assured that every particle, because there is no relative motion, they have same omega. So suppose here is a particle whose mass is mi. So here there is a particle whose mass is mi, mass of ith particle. Here there is a particle whose mass is mi, ith particle. And suppose this distance is ri, perpendicular distance. That means this particle is going on a circular path with speed omega into ri. Vi is equal to what? Omega into ri. So what is the kinetic energy of this particle? I know that kinetic energy of system is summation of kinetic energy of ith particle. Kinetic energy of the system is the sum of the kinetic energy of its individual particles. So in that case I can get half into summation of mi vi square. Vi means omega ri square, where omega is the angular velocity and ri is the perpendicular distance of that particle. Ri is the perpendicular distance of that particle from the axis of rotation. So in this case omega is a constant. I can take it out. I will get half summation of mi ri square, half summation of mi ri square whole omega square. Omega is constant because rigid body is there. So in that case I can get half into, in the case of translational we were getting something half mv square. In translational we are getting half mv square. Here we are getting half, that is counterpart of half. Something here counterpart of mass, and here there is counterpart of linear speed, half mv square, here half I omega square. Something, this quantity is called I. I means moment of inertia. Moment of inertia. About axis of rotation. So I can write kinetic energy due to rotational motion. The rotational kinetic energy is half I about axis of rotation into omega square. Half I about axis of rotation into omega square. So my expression would be half. So this is the counterpart of, I is the counterpart of mass. What is mass in translational motion? is moment of inertia in rotational motion. Now, what is the meaning of moment of inertia? What is the meaning of mass? We have studied that mass is the resistance, inertia, against the change in velocity. I want to change the velocity of something, either increase or decrease. The resistance offered by that body, against that change is called mass. Similarly, I want to rotate certain body. I want to rotate it. To rotate it, it offers a resistance. The difficulty in rotating it gives me an impression about its moment of inertia. More difficult it is to rotate it, or once it is rotated, it's more difficult to stop it. I would say its moment of inertia is more. So an old age fan, at the time of British time, like that fan has moment of inertia very large. Once you switch on the fan, it takes 1 minute to get the speed, and once you switch it off, it takes 1 minute to stop. That means it has a large amount of moment of inertia. It's very difficult to accelerate it and very difficult to stop it. Similarly, nowadays the fiber made fan, they pick up very fast and they stop very fast because their moment of inertia is low. So if a gate is there, if a door is there, and that door is made of suppose iron, and you want to open it, you want 3 or 4 persons to open it because its moment of inertia is very large. But if they are made of fiber, very lightweight, a person can open it and close it very fast. That means moment of inertia gives you the impression about resistance against change in angular velocity. Means that is inertia of rotational motion, rotational state. Understand? More is the moment of inertia, more difficult it is to rotate it from rest or bring it to rest once it has gained some angular velocity. So that is our expression. So that is a counterpart of, understand? So moment of inertia is the counterpart of mass. Moment of inertia is the counterpart of mass. So moment of inertia let us see what is moment of inertia. It is the counterpart of mass. I am going to now come to our first topic जो हम आज खत्म करना चाहते हैं. The topic I want to complete today, A to Z, is moment of inertia. And till now, whatever time I have given to you, I have actually wasted because I wanted to start from here. So, but you have to understand. So understand one thing very clearly. If this is an inclined plane or this is a curved surface, frictionless, and I release a ball from here, it's frictionless, it would not rotate because mg and normal cannot provide the torque and friction is not there. So it would move like this, and this motion is translational motion, it is not rotational motion. Understand why? Because suppose the ball is here, draw any vertical line here, draw any line, a vertical diameter here, call it A, call it B. Once it reaches here, you would find that A is here, B is here. And once it reaches here, you will find that A is here and B is here. It is not at all rotating any imaginary line. So if this is the B, trajectory of B, then this is the trajectory of, if this is the trajectory of A, this is the trajectory of C, then this is the trajectory of B. All are identical. There is no difference between them because they are not rotating. So to solve this question, do not think that this is rotational motion. No. Why? Because any line drawn inside the body is not changing its orientation. With respect to any axis. Understand? This is Earth, suppose it moves like this. then this motion is pure circular motion. Force would be mv square by r. Finished. There is no use of moment of inertia. But if this is going like this, if this is going like this and rotating like this, understand, like this. If I put a pencil inside and then rotate it, now see, now orientation would change. Now see, this line would change its orientation. This line is vertical here, this line is vertical here, this line is vertical here, and once it reaches here, this line is horizontal now. This line is horizontal now. That means it is rotational motion. Rotational means angle must change. If any line drawn within the body is not changing its orientation with any axis, any fixed line, that means it is a translational motion. Okay. Now come to moment of inertia. Now come to moment of inertia. What is moment of inertia? Moment of inertia means it is resistance towards rotational acceleration. And the measured value of the property of a body to maintain its constant omega or remain at rest. Now, moment of inertia denoted by I-axis, because this depends on axis. Unlike mass, which is a constant thing, for the same body, if the axis is changed, moment of inertia would change. It depends. Its expression is I about axis is equal to summation of mi ri square, or you can write integration of r square dm, where mi is the ith particle, mi is the mass of ith particle in discrete system, and ri is the perpendicular distance. Ri is the perpendicular distance of ith particle from axis. Any point mass has a certain distance from certain line. Any point have certain distance from certain line. That distance into mass into distance square is the contribution of that mass of some particle into its distance from the axis square is the contribution of that particle towards the moment of inertia. The summation of all those contributions is called moment of inertia. What means r square dm? R square dm means dm is equal. This means what? This means if there is dm mass between r and r plus dr, between distance r and r plus dr from axis. अब समझो, we can integrate it, find it moment of inertia r square dm in many cases. So what is the thing is that understand one thing. Meaning of this is that if I have an axis, I go to a distance r and then a small distance dr. First of all, what is the locus of all the points? Equidistant from an axis of rotation? The locus of all the points equidistant from an axis is a cylinder. The locus of all the points equidistant from a particular line, the locus of all the points equidistant from a particular axis is a cylinder. Now if I go to a cylinder, I am up to a distance r and then moves to a distance dr, then I would get a very thin cylindrical cell. That means if I collect all the mass, समझो, हम अपने एक्सिस से डिस्टेंस r पे गए, चारों तरफ घूम गए, हमने अपना एक ये बनाया, all the mass between r and r plus dr, that is all the mass on that cylindrical cell between r and r plus dr, it behaves like a point mass. Whether this mass is dm, total mass, or whether this mass is distributed on the ring, or whether this mass is some part here, some part mass is here, some part mass is here, some part mass is here, and some part mass is here. But this is on the same distance. From this axis, all these masses are at same distance. The combination of these all behaves like a single mass. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? It has radial symmetry. Understand means what? अगर ये axis है, if this is the axis, if I have mass here, if this is the mass here at a distance of r, about this axis the moment of inertia of this is mr square. About this axis is moment of inertia is mr square. Now I break it into two parts, m by 2 here, m by 2 here. Same distance. Now what is the moment of inertia? M by 2 r square plus m by 2 r square. What is that? mr square. Same. Now what I do is that on this ring of radius r, what I do is that m by 4 here and I put m by 4 here somewhere, making 30 degree. On this ring, total mass on this ring is what? M by 4 plus m by 4 plus m by 2. What is that means? Still the total mass at a distance r from this axis is m, so mr square. Now suppose I do it like this. I bring it slightly down here, m by 4 here and m by 4 here. So m by 4, m by 4, m by 4 on this ring and m by 4 here. So what is the contribution of this? M by 4 r square. So this is still mr square. Or if I do like this, I make a cylinder of radius r. I make a cylinder, hollow cylinder of radius r, and I distribute this mass into infinite number or finite number of pieces. Some here, some here, some here, some here. So some patch is here, some mass is here. On this cylinder, I put some mass here, I put some mass here, some mass here, some mass here. But the sum total of all these mass is m. Then moment of inertia of this cylinder or this axis will be mr square. It does not depend on how it is distributed. It depends on whether it is distributed at a particular distance. So it doesn't matter front or back, right or left. It only matters that if at a distance r from axis, if I take my hand and put between distance r and r plus dr, if I put my hand from the axis between r and r plus dr, and I go up and down all the direction, collect all the mass and convert it into a point mass, then that contribution is mr square. That contribution is mr square. Therefore, if I convert it to ring, if I compress it, it becomes ring. Or if I elongate the ring parallel to axis, it becomes hollow cylinder that have same moment of inertia. That is why a disc and a solid cylinder have same moment of inertia. That is why if I take a rod, so if I take a rod and, or if I take a page and fold it many times, I would see it, then it becomes a rod. It is same moment of inertia. Because till at a particular distance from axis, till at a particular distance r plus dr, between r and r plus dr, if total mass is same, it doesn't matter how it is distributed. Let us see how. So this is r square dm. We can integrate it to get dm. We know how to get dm. So we can have certain moment of inertia which you have remembered. हम इसको कैलकुलेट भी कर सकते हैं. Otherwise, we are going to have some formula that you have to remember. Now, to calculate this moment of inertia by integration, I can put some cases, and if you want to derive, you can derive it. Why moment of inertia is important? Because without moment of inertia, you cannot solve any question of compound pendulum. Physical pendulum is based on moment of inertia. Moment of inertia is required in many cases. Okay? So let us see what we have to do. So some moment of inertia we are writing. I am not deriving some moment of inertia. I can derive any number of cases. First, this is the rod. You know, uniform rod. Uniform rod. About center perpendicular to the length. This is ml square by 12. Okay, you know it. So this, if this is the rod, it's very thin rod. and I want to find moment inertia over this. This is ml square by 12. Now understand it. So this is the rod, and over this axis moment inertia is ml square by 12. That means at a particular distance between x and dx, if I go between a particular distance from here, where to where, between x and dx, if I go from here to a distance x and cut a distance dx, if I go from here to a distance x, और हम यहाँ से x distance जाते हैं, and I cut it dx. Now what I do is that I cut it by scissor and open it. हम इसको खोल देते हैं, देखो हम इसी को खोल दिए यहां पे, सेम एक्सिस है, still from the same distance, this mass is dm and this mass is still dm. That means still the mass distribution is same. Understand, from here to a distance between x and dx, you have certain mass dm. Here also, if I take this rectangular plate, and open it between x and dx, it is same. Because if this mass is dm, understand, if this mass is dm, I fold it once, still the mass is dm. Same mass is now I have put at the same distance from axis between x and dx. Again if I fold it, same mass is dm. Again I fold it, same mass is dm. Again I fold it, same mass dm. I fold it infinite times, here becomes the rod. So same mass dm has been now pulled parallel to the axis. And once you pull any mass dm parallel to the axis, or in more general terms I can say, if I distribute this mass dm at the same distance x on the cylinder, nothing changes. If I take this mass dm, make a cylinder of radius x, thickness dx, and distribute it any random manner on that entire cylindrical surface at the same distance x, and between x and dx my total mass is dm, then moment inertia remains same. That is why in this case also, in which case, that is why in this case also, that is why whether it is uniform rod or uniform plate, uniform rectangular plate, your moment inertia is same. That means if I pull it, it would become like this. If I pull it down, it would become like this. See, I would be getting like this. This length is L, perpendicular length, and total mass is M. So ml square by 12, still ml square by 12. That is why I can say that moment inertia of this rectangular plate, about this axis is ml square by 12, where L is the length which is bisected by it. Then nothing, this length do not matter. Even if I keeping this length L same, if I make this length as L by 2, doesn't matter. Still moment inertia is same. It depends on mass and depends on, because this is basically a rod of length L. This is basically a rod of length L. This mass dm is same. Now understand. Second, if you want to go, you have for ring. These are all things you have calculated. If you want, I can calculate it. For a uniform ring, for a ring. So this is the ring. This is the ring. And this is the axis passing through center and perpendicular to the axis. Now in this case, every particle dm is equidistant. Every particle dm is equidistant. Every particle dm is equidistant. That means, अगर यहाँ पे this mass dm is at r distance, that means all the masses, simply total mass m into fixed distance r, that becomes mr square. What it becomes? mr square. This is the moment of inertia of the ring. Now, after ring, if I pull this ring, downward, it becomes a hollow cylinder. Nothing changes. Because, again, all the masses are at same distance from the axis. We are concerned about axis, not from the point. So, distance from this axis remains the same. So that means even if this is ring or hollow cylinder, you would get mr square by mr square. Total mass m, radius r. Even if that in arc of the ring, or arc of the cylinder, if this kind of cylinder is there, understand, this cylinder subtends at the axis, this cylinder subtends angle 60 degree. Understand? Even if I take only this part of the ring, of the cylinder, even if I take only this part of the cylinder, whose mass is m. So this is like this. This is coming from here to here, and this is the total mass. Total mass is m, radius here. Still moment on inertia is same. If I have a ring, an arc of a ring, and that ring subtends here any angle theta, doesn't matter. If this is the arc of the ring, and if I want to find moment on inertia about this, it is still mr squared, because it doesn't matter whether it is point mass here or point mass distributed on the ring, and this ring need not be uniform. It may be non-uniform ring, because ultimately the total mass matters, not the distribution of mass that matters. ठीक है, अब देखो, this and this you have got. Now come to disk. What about disk? Solid disk. If you have uniform disk, if you have a disk, then how would you get? So moment of inertia of the disk would be like this. Moment of inertia of a disk is like this. Disk. In the case of disk, you would have moment of inertia like this. This is the disk, like a coin, very thin coin. If this mass is m, radius is r. Now first of all, we should understand that the moment of inertia of this must be less than moment of inertia of the ring. Why? In the case of ring, all the mass is at distance r. Every mass dm has contribution dm into r square. But in this case, some mass is at 0 at axis, whose contribution is 0. Some mass is at r by 2, whose contribution is mass of that ring into r by 2 square. Some mass is here, whose contribution is m, mass of that ring, into 3r by 4 square. Only very few mass is here at distance r. So in the case of ring, the same masses are located farther from the axis. At the case of ring, all the masses are located farther from the axis. In this case, from the same mass, some masses have been brought closer, so their contribution have decreased. So total contribution यहाँ के सबसे पहले important है. Here moment and inertia would be less than the ring without any calculation, and later on we can get that this is less than moment and inertia of the ring, because in ring the same masses are placed at larger distance. In this case, many masses are at closer distance, so their contribution compared to ring have been decreased. Similarly, hollow sphere के केस में सब दूर दूर होता है. They are farther point. Moment inertia is more. Solid sphere when they come closer, so moment inertia decreases. So let us see. This is the disk. Pull it down. It becomes cylinder. Disk or cylinder. Again same thing. There is no difference. Any elongation parallel to the axis, do not affect moment of inertia. So this is mr square by 2. And identify axis. Axes are infinite. I am talking about one of the axes that is shown here. Similarly, if you have a sector of the disk, similarly, if you get the sector of the disk, this is the sector of the disk, then you would get, again, if total mass is m, radius is r, that is mr square by 2. Everywhere mr square by 2. Okay. Fourth, because to apply parallel and perpendicular axis theorem, these theorem must be remembered. To apply any question of parallel or perpendicular axis theorem, the basis is the memory recall of these formulas. ये फॉर्मूला आएगा तभी आप नेक्स्ट स्टेज पे जा पाएंगे. इनफैक्ट उसमें आपको कुछ सेंटर मास भी चाहिए होगा. फोर्थ, this is triangular plate. Triangular plate. This is axis. Any kind of triangular plate. This is the axis, and you want to find moment and inertia over this axis. Then this would become drop a perpendicular from the third vertex. Let this be h. This mass is m. Then this would equal to mh square by 6. Moment on inertia is mh square by 6. It can be derived. Okay. Fifth, hollow spherical cell. About this diameter. All the mass is located here. Hollow spherical cell. That is 2 by 3 mr square. Sixth, solid sphere. So first thing is that in the case of solid sphere, compared to hollow sphere where all the mass is located at a distance r, but here in solid sphere the masses have come closer to axis, so moment of inertia must decrease. It cannot increase. One thing is, without calculation, qualitatively you can tell, you can do one analysis that if this is the solid sphere, then this is total mass m and radius is r. This is 2 by 5 mr square. You can get it 2 by 5 mr square. Now there are many shortcut methods of finding all these things. Not given in any Indian book. They are all given in some foreign books where these calculations, where you do integration. Without integration, I can find any moment of inertia. There are many short tricks, but now it's not time to have. Seventh, hollow cone. This is a hollow cone. It is going to be mr square by 2. R is the radius of the base. mr square was same as a disk. Strange, but same as a disk. The logic behind that. I would say try to understand, otherwise I would tell you. Eighth, solid cone. 3 by 10 mr square. 3 by 10 mr square. Solid cone 3 by 10 mr square. Okay. Triangle बता ही दिया है. Okay. So let us see. Assuming that you know these things, you know these types of formulas is known to you. Now we can have this thing. We can have two theorems. Which help you to calculate moment of inertia if you know these moment of inertia. Without integration, you can avoid integration if you know these base formulas. You can get moment of inertia by your intelligence. Now, one is parallel axis theorem. Other is perpendicular axis theorem. This is valid for all bodies, valid for all types of bodies. This is valid for laminar bodies. Laminar means plane bodies, 2D bodies, two-dimensional bodies only. It is valid for 2D bodies only. In this case, it is said that if this is any type of body, and you know where its center of mass is. After the class, I would share you notes. After the class, I would share you a formula of center of mass. Center of mass, something you require, because our next topic in the next class will be toppling. So in toppling, I require center of mass. Okay, so this is center of mass. Now suppose you want to find moment on inertia over this axis. What is required is, your requirement is, what is the moment on inertia about this axis? So what you do is that, make a line parallel to this, or shift this line up to here and pass it from here. क्या करो, एक लाइन ड्रॉ करो जो इस एक्सिस के पैरेलल हो और सेंटर ऑफ मास से पास कर रहा हो. एक ऐसा लाइन that is parallel to this and passing through center of mass. Then after that, once you get these parallel lines, find the distance between them, perpendicular distance between them, and that distance would equal to d. So you are going to get I about axis. If you know this ICM, if this ICM is known to you, you can get I axis. If I axis is known, you can get ICM. I axis becomes I about center mass axis. Not, see, through one point center mass, infinite lines can pass. Through a particular point in space, infinite lines can pass. I'm not talking about any axis passing through center of mass. I'm talking about an axis parallel to this axis. What is your required axis and passing through center of mass? If you know moment of inertia about this axis, then you can get I axis is ICM plus MD square. I would interpret what is the meaning of this. Here in this case, if this is the body, and this entire body lies in a plane, this planar body of any shape. Suppose this plane is in XY plane. So the plane in which it is lying, call it XY plane. In this plane, you are getting any two axes. In this plane, you are getting any two axes which are mutually perpendicular. In this axis, you are getting any two axes which are mutually perpendicular. Call it X, call it Y. Then in that case, that is X and Y axis lies in that plane and they are mutually perpendicular. They are mutually perpendicular lines lying in the same plane. In the same plane, these two lines are lying. Anywhere, doesn't matter. Anywhere. If you know what it is about this axis and this axis, you can get about third axis passing through the point of intersection and normal to this. So in this case, I would call this as Z axis. Then I can write IZ is equal to Ix plus Iy. When X and Y must lie in the plane of the body, and Z axis must pass through their point of intersection and normal to the plane of the body. Point O need not be center of mass. Understand? Point O may or may not be center of mass. It's not essential that point O should be center of mass. Point O need not be center of mass of the body. This is valid only for laminar bodies, two-dimensional bodies. It is not valid for sphere or cylinder. It is valid for ring, disc, rectangular plate, like that. In this case, it is valid for all cases. What is the meaning of this? When we come to combined translation and rotation motion, and I will talk about instantaneous axis of rotation. 3 या 4 क्लास के बाद we are going to take the topic combined translation and rotation. As a special case, we would take rolling motion. वहां पे हम बताएंगे इसका मीनिंग क्या होता है. Understand this now. ICM means what? ICM means I am standing here. ICM means about this axis. ICM means I am here. If I sit on the center of mass, then I am getting this. What is the meaning of this? Then I jump here. and I converted the entire body into a point mass placed at its center of mass. What is this? Suppose axis is this. Suppose axis is this. I want moment of inertia about this axis. I want to take moment of inertia about this point. And what I am doing is that I am converting this entire body into a point mass placed at its center of mass. In that case, if I convert this entire body into a point mass, mass m, at its center of mass, then about this axis, what is the contribution, what is the moment of inertia of that? Md square. Simple, one particle of mass m at a distance of d, md square. So understand, this means purely rotational. This means purely rotational. About center of mass axis, this contribution comes from purely rotational motion about this center of mass axis. अगर इसके अबाउट सिर्फ रोटेशन होता तो मोमेंट ऑफ इनर्शिया ये होता, और अगर यहां आ जाए और इसको क्या बना दें, and once I come here and convert it into point mass, it becomes translational motion. So in that case, this is purely translational. Purely translational of center of mass, because this means a person on the axis. So this is a superimposition, or you can say summation of two contribution. One contribution is about this axis. One contribution is about this axis. Other contribution is once I jump here. So whenever I have to calculate moment of inertia about this axis, I would do it two steps. Whenever I have to calculate moment of inertia about this axis, I have to do two steps. In the first step, I would go to the center of mass, an axis through center of mass. I would just take rotational motion. Okay, and once I take rotational motion, then I jump here. Then I convert this entire mass into a point mass, and I would calculate the contribution of that and add these two. इसको बताइए कंबाइंड ट्रांसलेशनल रोटेशन में इसका ब्यूटी क्या होता है एवरीवेयर. ठीक है, तो यहां पे होता है ICM इक्वल टू, तो अंडरस्टैंड आउट ऑफ ऑल द इनफाइनाइट पैरेलल लाइंस पॉसिबल, out of infinite parallel lines possible in the space, the minimum moment of inertia would be about center of mass axis. Because center of mass, see, whether I take axis as 1 or axis as 2 or axis as 3, understand, whether I take axis as 1, 2 or 3, whether I take axis as 1, 2 or 3, this term is common. Out of all these parallel lines, to get moment of inertia about any of these parallel lines, this term is common. This term is added. That means this term is added and this term must be positive. So that means moment of inertia can be either equal to ICM or more than ICM. It cannot be less than ICM. So out of all the infinite axis possible in the space, out of infinite axis like bamboo trees possible in the space, many bamboo trees are there, the minimum moment of inertia would be moment of inertia about an axis passing through center of mass. Center of mass axis have minimum moment of inertia out of all set of parallel lines. That means if I have been given some moment of inertia as function of x or y or z, if I have been given a function of I, x or y or z, I have been given moment of inertia of a different axis depending on coordinates. I know that when di by dx is 0, because moment of inertia is minimum. Moment of inertia is minimum about center of mass axis. Therefore, wherever a function is minimum, its differentiation must be 0. So understand that I am writing moment of inertia is minimum about center of mass axis. Therefore, if I is given as function of x, if moment of inertia is given as function of x, di by dx is 0, where di by dx is 0, that x is the coordinate of center of mass. Out of all these axes, moment of inertia is minimum about center of mass axis. Okay. Now see how to apply it. So we have got two things. Now, if I know some moment of inertia that we have known. Now suppose I have been asked to find moment of inertia of about this. What about this? Suppose I have been asked to find moment of inertia about this. This is a half ring. This is a half ring. I've been asked to find moment of inertia about this axis. Mass m, radius r. What is moment of inertia about this axis? An axis passing through one of the corner, one of the starting point of this ring and perpendicular to its plane. So question is, find moment of inertia. Find moment of inertia about an axis through A, and normal to its plane. How to get it? How to get moment of inertia? mr square by 2. No. Now see, take this point, call this point as point O. Do you know moment of inertia about this point? Do you know moment of inertia at this point? Yes, you can get. Why? Because they are great. You can get moment of inertia at this point because you know that all the particles are equidistant from here. All the masses dm, all the masses dm are equidistant from here. So once you integrate dm into r square, if I take about this point, if I take a mass dm here, so I about O would become, I about axis O would become dm into r square integration. I have taken dm here and this distance is r here. Once I take dm into r integration, r square is constant over the entire dm. हर dm के लिए distance equal है. So that would come out of the integration sign. I have to integrate dm and that is mr square. So I know what is about point O, that is mr square. But this point O is not the center of mass. This point O is not the center of mass of this ring. Center of mass of the ring lies here. Center of mass ring का यहाँ पे होता है. Center of mass is here. The ring's center of mass is here. The distance of center of mass from here is 2r by pi. The distance of center of mass here is 2r by pi. See, generally what we have seen is that we know center of mass and we find what another axis. But this is a case where you know about another axis and you do not know about center of mass. And it's impossible to calculate about center of mass directly by integration. So what we have to do is that we are saying that about this we know because we are lucky that this point is having equidistant masses. So once I know about this, I can find about this. How? I can write I about O should be equal to, see, I can write I about O should be equal to ICM plus this square. I can write I about O should have been equal to I about O should have been equal to I about center of mass plus m into 2r by pi whole square. I about O should have been equal to I about center of mass plus I about center of mass plus m into 2r by pi. But I know IO, so I can get ICM. So ICM would become equal to mr square minus 4 mr square by pi square. This is ICM. Once you know ICM, but you have been asked to find what? About A. Now understand, you cannot have done like this. IO and IA. You cannot have done like this. That IA is equal to IO plus mr square. You cannot have done IA is equal to IO plus mr square. Out of the two axes, one must be center of mass. This is not center of mass and this is not center of mass. So parallel axis theorem is not directly applicable between these two. One must be center of mass of the body, always. You cannot apply between any two parallel lines. So once you got center of mass, now you want to get IA. How to get IA? IA would become equal to, if this distance is suppose L. So what would you get? IA is equal to ICM plus ML square. IA is equal to ICM plus ML square. I about axis A. Now you can apply between these two, not these two. IA is equal to ICM plus ML square, and that would become equal to, you know, that is M into R square minus 4M into R square by pi square plus, what is ML square? What is L square? L square would be equal to R square plus, this is R square plus, this is R square plus, क्या हो बताओ, R square plus R square plus R 4R square by pi square. So that would become C, and that would become equal to, यहां से देखो 4R square by pi square कट जाएगा, कितना हो जाएगा 2MR square माइनस प्लस कट जाएगा 2MR square. If I want to know moment and inertia at this point, which point? OA, call it B, this point. If I want to find moment and inertia at this point, how to get moment and inertia at this point? तो क्या करेंगे बताओ? ICM I know ICM. I know this distance. What is this distance? R minus 2R by pi. This is R minus 2R by pi. This distance is R minus 2R by pi. So I about B should be equal to ICM plus M into R minus 2R by pi whole square. I about this axis is equal to I about this axis ICM plus M into R minus 2R by pi whole square. ICM यहाँ प्लेस कर दो, चला जाएगा, ठीक है. We could have find this one more method. इसको निकालने का एक और तरीका था. वो क्या था? इसको निकालने का एक और तरीका था, वो हम देखते हैं. वैसे बहुत सारा तरीका सब कुछ का होता है, वो तुम्हारे ऊपर है, तुम कितना इसमें तुम्हारे स्किल्स बहुत काम करते हैं, ठीक है. Now see, similarly the same question could have been asked in the disk. If this is not half ring, this is half disk. Only difference is that this 2R by pi becomes 4R by 3 pi. For disk, अगर ये डिस्क होता, then 2R by pi की जगह क्या लेते? 4R by 3 pi. So I could be asked a question in SHM that if this is the half ring and this half ring is placed, if this is a half ring, this is half ring, not the full ring, and this half ring is placed like this, and then this half ring is tilted and left, it do SHM, find its time period, find its time period. Now in that case you require moment and inertia about this axis, because this half ring has been placed on this axis symmetrically, so it has to do like this. So you require this moment and inertia to get the time period of that compound pendulum or physical pendulum. Okay, now suppose this is one thing. Now suppose I have been asked question like this. Suppose I have been asked question like this. This is length, this is width, this is rectangle. What is moment and inertia about this? What is the moment and this total mass is m? What is the moment and inertia about this axis? What is the moment and inertia of this diagonal axis? Now how to get the moment and inertia about this diagonal axis? So what we have to do is that we have two methods. We have two methods again. There are many methods. That depends on your skill and how much you have studied, how much depth you have gone to moment and inertia. Okay. So suppose I have been asked a question, what is the moment and inertia about this? So what I am telling is that suppose moment and inertia of this triangle is I, this is also I. Okay. So how to get it? Drop a perpendicular from here. Drop a perpendicular from here. I know that this is two triangle, and drop a perpendicular from here also. This perpendicular is height h. So this mass is m, this mass is m. So there are two triangles. There are two triangles whose mass is small m, and whose perpendicular from this base, from the third vertex. If I drop a perpendicular, that height is h. Then moment and inertia would be equal to, I know moment and inertia would be equal to 2 times of mh square by 6. I told you in the formula that across any base of any triangle, if you, from the third vertex you drop the perpendicular, that altitude, height is h, then moment inertia is mh square by 6, 2 times mh square by 6. So that becomes equal to 2 times of mass means total mass by 2, mass means total mass by 2, 6 is outside, total mass by 2, because 1 mass is m by 2, m by 2. What about h? How to get h? So suppose this angle is theta. This plus this 90 and this plus this is also theta. If I draw a polynomial, if this plus this is 90 and this plus this is 90, this is theta. From this triangle I can get cos theta is equal to what? From this triangle I can get cos theta is equal to h by b. From this triangle I can get cos theta is equal to h by b. And from this bigger triangle I can get cos theta is equal to L by under root L square plus b square. So from here you would get h is equal to what? L into b by L square plus b square root. Place it here, you would get this and this is cancelled, and here it would be L into b by under root of L square plus b square. So your answer is m by 6 LB by under root L square plus b square. M by 6 LB by under root L square plus b square. Suppose I have been asked a question like this. Question is like this.